Ang bansang nagkakaisa, sama-samang babangon muli. Yan ang patuloy na isinusulong ng ating pamahalaan sa pamumuno ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Magandang gabi Pilipinas, sa ngalan po ni Atty. Miko Clavano. Ako po si Audrey Goriseta at ito ang The Chatroom. Bayan ang UNICEF o United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund na ngayon ay United Nations Children's Fund ay ahensya ng United Nations na responsable sa pagbibigay ng mga humanitarian and development aid para sa mga bata sa buong mundo. At isa ang Pilipinas sa mga nagpapadala ng representative sa UNICEF bilang tanda ng pagsuporta dito. Ang kasalukuyang Presidential Envoy to UNICEF ng administrasyon, si Madam Monica Luis Prieto Teodoro.
Good evening, Audrey. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat.
Good evening, ma'am. At bago po ang lahat, maraming salamat sa inyong pagpapaunlak sa aming imbitasyon dito sa The Chatroom.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Una po nating question, ma'am, ano po yung inyong educational background para makilala kayo ng ating audience at ano po yung eskwelahan?
Yung eskwelahan ko, I studied in America for 19 years. Doon ako lower school to high school and then sa college sa Switzerland. And my major was international marketing.
Okay. Pero before politics, nakilala ka sa politika sa Pilipinas, kayo rin po ay nasa real estate business.
Yung pamilya ko. Yung
pamilya
ko, yes.
Pero dati ka rin nag-commercial model.
Yes. I launched yung Pantene. Naalala mo ba yung Pantene shampoo? Ako yung launch model nila. Here in Portugal, actually. Nakaabot ako sa Portugal ng commercial na Pantene.
Okay. Ma'am, sa inyo pong husband na si former Defense Secretary Gilbert Teodoro, sino po ang nauna sa inyong pumasok sa politika?
Sige po. Sige po. He was 9 terms in Congress. Then, yung natapos yung term niya, saka ako pumasok in 2007.
Okay. Bakit ka nagdesisyon to enter politics?
Actually, I'm very apolitical. It was by request by the everyone, actually, 17 mayors of Tarlac unanimously voted that I should continue the work na ginawa ng asawa ko doon sa Tarlac. So, yeah, I took it seriously at nag-oo naman ako at nanalo ako. And in 2007, naging congresswoman ako.
Well, ma'am, nung panahon na pareho kayong nasa politika ng inyong husband, kamusta po yung inyong management din sa pamilya?
Medyo mahirap dahil bata pa yung anak namin. He was very young and ayaw niya na wala yung mami niya because he's very close to me. But because we made a commitment, I made a commitment to do my job in Tarlac, continue Gibos work in Tarlac. And my husband at that time was Secretary of Defense. So we just had to balance our time. Most of the time, I'd bring Jaime with me to Congress. Minsan natutulog siya sa opisina ko sa Congress. And sumasama sa akin sa floor. So Jaime was most of the time with us actually. Kung wala naman sa akin, kasama ng lola niya. So may family care naman all the time si Jaime. But it was very difficult because bata lang siya and only child lang siya. So, of course, mama's boy. Noon hindi na ngayon mama's boy. Actually, hindi na talaga mama's boy. He really took it in stride. And he was always with us as much as possible kasama namin wherever we went.
Interested din ba siya sa politics?
Sana naman hindi, but you never know. Nasa dugo rin niya.
Noong 2010, kasama sa mga nangunguna sa survey ang inyo pong husband na si former Defense Secretary Gilbert Teodoro at maraming nag-iisip na siya na yung susunod na Pangulo. Well, paano nyo hinandle yung decision ng inyong husband to run for president?
Siguro yan ang pinakamahirap. That must have been the hardest decision talaga because at that time, we thought we would just do what we had to do for the moment. We didn't know that he would run for a national position. So it was very, very difficult. But there was a cry for Gibo And I think it was the right thing to do because Gibo made a very impactful, yung naalala siya hanggang ngayon. That's why ang taas ng rating niya sa votes this time because naalala siya in 2010 as a dignified and statesman-like politician. He's not a typical politician eh. Very dignified yung asawa ko. And very thoughtful. He's not, as I said, not a typical politician. And that's yung upbringing ng asawa ko. Very good parents, I must say. Very good parents that brought him up to love his family, his country, and himself enough that he respects himself to do the right thing for the country and for the people of the Philippines. So I'm very proud na naman he ran in 2010 because it showed the Filipino people what a dignified man and a gentleman Gibo is.
Pero itong taon na to, tumakbo rin siya sa pagka-senador at hindi pinalad na makapasok. Ano? So, paano tinanggap ng pamilya niyo yan?
Audrey, ikwento ko lang sa iyo. Yung pagkapasok niya, 8 months before election, 11-year hiatus siya. Hindi siya lumabas ng politika. Businessman siya eh. So he never came out. 11 years, hindi siya lumabas. All of a sudden, sabi niya, he's gonna run for senator. I said, are you sure? Sigurado ka na ba? You're gonna run? This was 8 months before, 8 months before. He said yes. So we campaigned really, really hard. Talagang pinaghirapan namin with the help of many people, no? Inday Sara, former President Duterte, all the people that believed in him, now President Bongbong Marcos. So we had a very good backing of people that believed in him, that were politicians, and also the Greenies. I'd like to mention the Greenies because to this day they're still intact. So the love for Gibo translated in almost 13 million votes with 11-year hiatus and 8 months to campaign. So it's amazing how people remember Gibo in that manner. So it really gave us incentive to continue our legacy and our advocacies, mine is children. So I'm continuing with children, which I did during the administration of PRRD and during my time as Congresswoman.
Well, 1 year pa bago pwedeng bigyan ng posisyon yung mga tumakbo nitong nakaraang eleksyon. Interested po ba yung husband ninyo to serve under the Marcos administration?
Oh, I think so. I think so. I think the belief Gibo has with this administration is great. That I think he can make a difference in helping the president succeed. He's doing a very good job, the president, but you know, every administration needs as much help as possible. And I think the gift that Gilbert will bring is his experience in business because of 11 years in the private sector, and since he was 15, he's been in politics, so he's very well-rounded to help the president in any direction or any position the president chooses to give Gibo. And of course, love of the country. I think the most important is the love of the country that Gibo has proven himself to have.
Okay. Bayan, ipagpapatuloy pa po natin itong talakayan at mas kikilalanin pa natin si Madam Monica Luis Prieto Teodoro sa pagbabalik ng The Chatroom.
For the unlimited na talakayang pambayan, dito natin yan pag-uusapan. Ang inspiring stories nyo, i-flex namin yan.
Dahil dito sa Schoolmates, deserve nyong mapakinggan.
Patuloy na maglilingkod sa bayan at kabataan. Is Schoolmates tuwing Huwebes ng gabi sa PTV.
Bayan, nagbabalik po ang The Chatroom. Kasama pa rin po natin si Presidential Envoy to UNICEF, Madam Monica Luis Teodoro. Ma'am, how did you feel when you were offered by the President to be his envoy sa UNICEF? Ito po'y dati mo na rin hinawakang posisyon noong 2017 under Duterte administration. Ano pong kaibahan ngayon?
Actually, it's just a continuation. Tinutuloy ko lang yung ginawa ko for former President Duterte. By protecting the interests of the children, I report to the UN what's happening, how they can help us through funding, through technology, through information, And then I go to different countries, like I went to the UK. Just recently, 3 weeks ago, I talked to the NCA, National Crime Agency, to ask for their help and their advice how we can protect our children against trafficking and online sexual abuse, because it's very, very high. Mataas ngayon ang live streaming of young children for sex purposes. Ang problema ngayon with live streaming, it's very lucrative during the lockdown. During the lockdown, it jumped siguro mga 270%, if I'm not mistaken. Because a lot of it is done by yung mga magulang. Yung mga magulang ang nag-exploit sa mga bata. They are the ones that are actually marketing their children. Because it's so easy, mag-PayPal ka lang. Pwede ka na manood for pennies to the dollar. Pwede ka nang manood ng live streaming. At sila mismo, yung viewer ang nagsasabi sa mga magulang and any relative, anong gusto nilang mangyari sa bata while the video is live.
Ngayon, paano gagawa ng pamamaraan ng ating pamahalaan upang mas maging matibay yung pagprotekta natin sa kabataan patungkol sa may sexual exploitation na nagaganap na to?
Ay, salamat po yung tanong na yan, no? Because yung tulong nga na magagawa ng gobyerno na ito is strengthening local legislation, upgrading their technology, upgrading yung digital forensic in particular. Kasi that's, we can convict faster if we have the technology. And then also allocating appropriate funding kasi medyo mahal ang technology. But America is also helping us in that. And I hope we use their technology and resources. And then a specialized office dedicated lang para sa mga protecting children from exploitation. We desperately need an office specifically for exploitation and abuse of children. That is what is lacking right now.
Well, nakakalungkot na yung mga magulang at kaanak pa yung mismong bumibiktima sa mga batang ito. No? At marami na rin na-report na nahuli na, napigilan. Ngayon, ang mga batang ito dumadaan sa series of questioning ng mga otoridad. Hindi ba nakaka-apekto rin sa kanilang mental health ito?
Tama po yun, Audrey. What they do is once the child is taken into custody, by a certain department, tinatanong nila what happened. So, nare-recall na naman yung bata. So, the child is reliving yung nangyari sa kanya. So, yung trauma is double. And then, after that, it doesn't end sa isang department. Example, if the PNP asks the question, NBI will ask the question again, DSWD, and so forth and so on. So, the child is reliving it over and over again. So, the trauma is intense. And as you know, pag nangyari yan sa bata, for life na yan Scarred na yung bata for life. That's why we need preventative measures so that it doesn't happen. We desperately need preventative measures. So that doesn't come as easy anyways, as easy as it does that their own family members, yung mga kamag-anak nila mismo, ang nagla-livestream sa mga anak nila.
Okay. Well, Madam, ito good news sa atin, para sa mga kabataang Pinoy dahil noong November 3, recently lamang po, naglabas na ng final verdict against Peter Scully. Ito po yun ng biktima ng mga kabataan dito sa Pilipinas. Finally daw nakuha na yung katarungan sa mga nabiktima nitong kabataang Pinoy. Maaari mo po bang ikwento sa amin daw?
Yes, actually, yung kinausap ko si former President Duterte, sinabi ko nga itong kaso sa kanya about Peter Scully. He's an Australian who came to the Philippines in 2011 at pornography crime siya, with his cohorts, Filipino cohorts. And since 2000, siguro naaresto siya 2014, dinala siya sa CDO, pero doon sa jail mismo, diyan siya nagagawa ng mga kalokohan So, even though he was in jail in CDO, he was still doing the crimes. Nangyayari pa rin because he had a laptop, may telepono siya. Pagkatapos yung girlfriend niya yata, si Lovely, was actually binabato sa kanya yung mga nangyayari sa bata para ma-livestream ni Peter Scully. And at that time, it was $10,000 per live streaming. So, it was such a lucrative business. Bilyon-bilyon talaga ang negosyo na ito. So, miski na nasa presinto si Peter Scully at that time, hindi pa siya na-charge, tuloy pa rin ang negosyo niya. Tuloy pa rin. So, the children are really, really exploited to talagang inexploit ng katakot-takot ni Peter Scully. So at that time, I asked President Duterte kung we can charge na dito na sana na for the crimes na ginawa sa mga Filipino children. And then he was actually charged in 2018, 5 counts, no, na charge siya. And then this last November 3, he was charged with 129 years life imprisonment, which is kind of amazing. I mean, it is amazing, not kind of amazing, because 129 years, and that's something that's never been, hindi nangyari sa bansa natin. This is the first time talaga nangyari yan eh. And we have to really thank our prosecuting team. Ang galing nila. Ang galing nila.
Well, recently, kayo po ng Pangulo ay humarap din sa UNICEF. Ano po yung mga nilalaman ng presentation ninyo?
Well, actually, on my part, no, I went with the President just recently, a few weeks ago, we went to New York for the UNGA, the United Nations General Assembly. And there, I was able to speak in the permanent mission to Luxembourg. And we were able to discuss violence against children and how it will make good economic sense for the country to protect the interest of the children, because they're the future of any country, no? Of any country. Of course, my part was to speak on behalf of the Filipino children and how to protect their interests so that they are productive adults. And this is what we talked about at the permanent mission of Luxembourg. And this is something that 2030 agenda, sustainable development, to put an end to violence against children in 2030. So this was very crucial, this meeting nga in the UNGA, and this permanent mission of Luxembourg brought us the topic of violence against children.
Alright, Special Envoy Nikki, ito naman po ang ilang isyung may kinalaman sa UNICEF, and we want to ask for your point of view, stand, and clarification, or how would you like to address itong isyung ito? Narito po yung unang statement. Masasabi mo daw po bang proof na hindi tumitingin si President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. sa kulay na politika dahil kayo po ay nakapag-asawa ng isang kaanak ng mga kuwangko at pinili pa rin po kayo ng Pangulo na i-appoint?
I don't think may kulay ang protection for children talaga. Audrey. I mean, anyone who loves children and who's a good politician will want to do right by the future of the country, and the future of the country are the children. So I don't think may kulay ang mga bata. So yes, it was no political agenda si Pangulong natin ngayon sa mga pamilya.
Okay, huwag po kayong bibitiw, mas malalim na talakayan pa ang ating gagawin. Kasama pa rin si Presidential Envoy to UNICEF, Monica Luis Chodoro.
Vaccination, mahalagang impormasyon ukol sa second booster shot kontra COVID-19. Kasama ka ba sa itinuturing na immunocompromised? Pwede ka nang tumanggap ng second booster shot mo kontra COVID-19. Ang second booster shot ay pwedeng tanggapin at least 3 months o 3 buwan matapos ang first booster shot mo. Ito ay maaaring kaparehong brand ng iyong primary dose. O ibang brand base sa mga rekomendadong pagpipilian ng Department of Health. Gaya ng iba mong natanggap na bakuna para sa COVID-19, pwede kang makaranas ng side effects kapag tumanggap ng second booster shot. Bago magpa-booster, maiging kumonsulta muna sa inyong doktor para kayo ay magabayan. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to!
Bayan, nagbabalik po tayo kasama pa rin si Presidential Envoy to UNICEF Monica Luis Chidoro. Okay, ma'am, noong 2007, nung kayo po nasa Kongreso pa, no, you founded and chaired the Committee on Child Welfare Committee na hanggang ngayon pinapakinabangan pa po. Mari mo po bang ikwento yan?
I'm not really a politician, no? So my focus was really to take care of children. So naisip ko nga to form a committee at that time kasi walang committee that specifically took care of the welfare of children. So I formed and chaired the committee that's a standing committee to protect the interest of the Filipino children sa Congress. And it's complete na mga bills na we passed in our committee and then is made into law, hopefully, through the Senate.
Okay, naging bahagi din po kayo nitong Golden Rooster Foundation for the Fallen Soldiers' Children. Ito po yung pagtulong nyo doon sa mga nasawi na mga sundalo natin, yung kanilang mga iniwang mga anak.
That's right, that's right. During the time of my husband, as Secretary of Defense, si Gibo, I started this foundation because the story goes is that I went to a funeral of one of the soldiers. Ang hirap talaga, yung nakukuha nilang pera, nauubos just for the burial ng mga asawa nila. So I was asking them, what happens sa mga anak ninyo? Paano ninyo tinutulungan kung yung binibigay sa inyo is hindi sapat? So that's how I started the Golden Rooster Foundation that helps children with their education.
Okay, so ito po mga kabataan na to ngayon patuloy na nag-aaral.
Actually, some of them I'm sure have graduated na because it's as much as we could give at that time, and they had to be able to keep a certain grade level to be part of the foundation. And then we would if they came back to us, we would continue yung tulong ba.
Ma'am, kwento niyo rin po itong Amor Village, Ito yung village for special needs, abused, and neglected children.
Yes, that is my baby. Yan talaga ang baby ko. That was my promise when I ran, that I would build a village to protect the interest of the children of Tarlac. Ang nangyari, it became so necessary that it became Region 3, and now it's nationwide that they're sending children to the Amor Village to take care of them because it's so necessary, because we don't have enough facilities like the Amor Village that's very well taken care of by DSWD. And we have a lot of, right now, special needs that are actually children that cannot move, they can't walk, and their parents actually iniwan lang ng mga magulang nila sa kalye.
Abandonado.
Abandonado talaga.
Well, sa ngayon po ba may numbers kayo kung ilan na yung natulungan nitong Amor Village?
Yung Amor Village, there's 100 and at the moment, there's 115 children that are being housed in the Amor Village. But we will need more Amor Villages nationwide, or at least regionally, to be able to help as many children as possible. Because before the Amor Village, we didn't have special needs. That's why we had to adopt those children into the Amor Village. Hindi yan ang plano noon eh. Yung plano for the Amor Village was abused and abandoned and neglected children that had no special needs. We were not prepared for special needs children. But they were abandoned, literally, on some of them on the streets because hindi sila, walang pera yung mga magulang, hindi nila alam paano paalagaan yung mga bata because you have to feed the children eh.
Iniwan na lang.
Basta iniwan na lang. Some stories talagang abandoned talaga on the streets.
Ngayon, saan ang funding po nito nanggagaling?
At DSWD.
DSWD.
And also international funding. It is very, very much funded by, I still give my own personal from my foundation regularly to the Amor Village, and also foreign money comes in for the Amor Village. In fact, we're trying to get to level 3, which is level 3 of excellence. Right now, we're level 2, and what we're shooting for is to be level 3, which is the highest tier for pinakamataas na yan for excellence. And we're trying to shoot for that this year in the Amor Village.
Okay, sa dami na po natin na pag-usapan ng mga kinakaharap na problema, lalo na concerning yung mga kabataang Pinoy, paano nyo po ilalarawan sa UNICEF ang kabataang mga Pilipino?
We have a problem right now. Yung pinakamalala ngayon na problema is yung online pornography, live streaming at that. It got really bad, almost 270%, maybe higher pa, because of COVID. That is our main focus right now. And of course, with the natural calamities that have just happened, those children are also needing, well, everything really. And the administration has been very good about doing it speedily, I must say, very speedily. But we need help, foreign help. We need help, hopefully, from our business sector. That's very important, that the business sector provide that help, because they can. And our technology. Our technology has to be upgraded, and absolutely necessary is a specific office for these children, so that we don't have to keep going to different departments. Right now, we keep going to different departments. So what happens is they don't get the full benefit and protection that's necessary because of other things that each department is very busy tackling.
Kailangan din ba ng kooperasyon ng mga kababayan natin, na kung may alam na kaso ng ganito, may na-witness na ganitong kapitbahay, halimbawa, kailangan i-report kagad?
Absolutely. Very good point talaga, Audrey. Kailangan, kung makita may masamang nangyayari, i-report ka agad sa police, sa teacher, sa media. Media plays a big part of this because you can literally get it right away, and you can blast it. That's what we're lacking. We need to blast this. We are lacking informed information immediately. So if people report it to the proper authorities, to the schools, to the media, to anybody that they think that can help, mas mabilis ang resulta. Ang problema ngayon, masyadong mabagal because there's not enough information, number one, and then a special office is really needed para mabagsak lahat ito.
Okay, bayan, dyan lamang po kayo dahil magbabalik pa ang The Chatroom.
Health Watch, alertong pangkalusugan, mga paghahanda laban sa sakit ngayong tagulan. Iwasan ang leptospirosis. Huwag lumangoy, lumusong at maglaro sa baha. Gumamit ng bota kung talagang kailangan lumusong at kapag mataas na ang tubig baha. Sumakay sa mga improvised floating devices o rubber boats kung lilikas ng bahay. Mga palatandaan o sintomas ng leptospirosis, lagnat, panginginig ng katawan o chills, pananakit ng ulo, binti, kalamnan at kasukasuan, pamumula ng mga mata, paninilaw ng balat at hirap sa pag-ihi. Kung patuloy ang lagnat sa loob ng 2 araw, agad na kumonsulta sa doktor. Tandaan, ngayong tagulan, pangalagaan ang kalusugan. Huwag malito, dapat laging listo.
Bayan, nagbabalik po ang The Chatroom at kasama pa rin po natin si Presidential Envoy to UNICEF, Monica Luis Teodoro. Sa punto pong ito, nais naman nating malaman ang mga plano ni Presidential Envoy to UNICEF, Monica Luis Teodoro, bilang Presidential Envoy to UNICEF.
Itutuloy ko lang yung ginagawa ko ngayon, which is focusing on online pornography, child abuse, and exploitation.
Well, ma'am,
Prevention and cure. In the sense, yung cure, yung pagtulong sa mga bata after the fact na nangyari ito sa kanila. These are heinous crimes against children.
pero ma'am, gaano po kahalaga itong pagkakaroon ng specialized office na dedicated talaga to protecting children from sexual exploitation?
Well, kung wala itong opisina na ito, babagsak sa different departments. And as you know, each department has so much to deal with. Ang daming trabaho ng different departments, no? So kung ibagsak ito, may rape din ng mga babae, mga lalaki that are adults, hindi lang mga bata. So to have a specific just for children will make it a lot easier to resolve the problem, to protect the interest of the children, and hopefully to prevent any future harm that comes to our Filipino children. So importante talaga itong opisina na ito for the protection of exploited and abused children. It's quite crucial actually.
Okay, ma'am, para sa kaalaman ng mga nanonood, ano po ba talaga itong role ng pagiging special envoy of the President of the Philippines to UNICEF?
Ang ginagawa ko is try to get the information from different departments so that I can help the departments, kasi sa dami ng trabaho nila, I can help different departments to put the cases in the right departments. Halimbawa, if it's for the police, with the PNP, if it's for jurisdiction, with the DOJ. So, tinutulungan ko yung mga departments. But actually, yung trabaho ko is to represent the Philippines abroad, to get international help with technology, with advice, with finances, with the UN, with the finances, no? And as much as possible, for them to realize that we need help from stopping the foreigners na pumapasok sa bansa natin at sexually exploiting our children, our Filipino children. Because ang dami doon, it's so lucrative, madaming pera doon because of the foreign money coming in that have been hurting our children. It's very lucrative because of the currency that's being brought back into the country for abusing children and exploiting them.
Okay, Madam, bilang panghuli po, ang inyo pong babala doon sa mga nang-aabuso sa mga kabataan, mapa-foreigner o mga Pilipino man, yung mga involved doon sa may sexual exploitation at sexual abuse ng mga kabataan?
Well, this, I hope that you're watching this because kung may mahuli man kayo at mahuhuli din kayo, for sure, you will have the same thing the same fate that happened to Peter Scully, yung 129 years imprisonment. So that will happen to any foreigner that comes to our country. And then for the families that have abused their children, we will be taking your children away from you and you will probably not see your children. And I think as a mother myself, ang sakit nun kung hindi ninyo makita mga anak ninyo dahil sa ginawa ninyong krimen sa mga bata. Exploiting your children and abusing and hurting their future is hurting the country. So economically din, it's wrong because they're heinous crimes against God's gifts to us.
Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng
My
impormasyon
pleasure.
na ibinahagi sa amin. Nakapanayan po natin si Presidential Envoy to UNICEF, Monica Luis Chodoro. Maraming salamat po ulit sa pagpaunlak ng inyo sa aming imbitasyon dito sa The Chatroom.
My pleasure. Thank you. And good evening to all of you. Please take care of your children or we will go after you, for sure.
Bilang responsableng mamamayan, mahalagang magkaroon tayo ng malawak na kaalaman tungkol sa pamahalaan at sa mga pangyayari sa ating bansa. Kaya naman, ugaliin